Keisha, today I want to talk to you about the fashion industry and your life and work as a very successful, well, quite a supermodel really in New York.
I always wanted to be a fashion model, to be honest, Danya, and I wanted desperately to get to New York pretty much at an early age, but my mom was like, absolutely not. So I decided, I've always been into fashion. I've always loved clothes. So the next best thing to modeling in my tiny little mind at that time was fashion design. And I realized that Ford was the best agency in Chicago. So I went there, signed with them. And then after that, the rest was history.
But just tell me exactly who was on the books with you at Ford Models.
Eileen Ford, who was the owner of Ford, she was, around and has been around since the heyday of like the supermodel era that we all love in the 90s. When I arrived to New York, Stephanie Seymour was like the big fish. And Stephanie Seymour, she's one of those names that's up there with Naomi and up there with Cindy and Linda and Kate.
I just love that picture of her. I don't know if you've seen it, where she's naked on a tree.
Of course, yes. And the famous tree, everybody wanted an axle, like a rose around their ankle when they saw that. It was like, she was just so beautiful.
Stephanie has like the most beautiful butt I think I've ever seen on a woman. It's like perfect butt. And you did a lot of big campaigns out in New York, didn't you? So you did for Maybelline, you did for Revlon, you were there for Pantene.
I, like a lot of other models from diversity, was told no. Lots of doors were closed in my face. And then my Ford Chicago agency was like getting all sending all the checks. And Ford New York, it's like, wait a minute, who is this girl making all this money in Chicago but happens to live in New York? Well, immediately they saw that I was bankable in their eyes. Then I signed right away.
Now you're known as the Pantene girl, right? So you are the Pantene model. Yeah, which is fabulous. It's I remember seeing you on the screens when I was younger, I would see this girl, this amazing black woman with amazing curly hair come up and be like, oh, the Pantene girl, and here she is now. But you're also a princess, and that's a working princess at that. So I want to know how you met your husband.
Prince Adekunle Omilana. This story, you can see I'm already smiling from ear to ear. It's such a beautiful story. I'm so glad you asked. We met in New York City. It was in the middle of Fashion Week.
So this is during the speed of Fashion Week, where the tempo is just so fast. I know it from London Fashion Week. I mean, exactly. You girls are on like 100 castings a day, aren't you?
You don't see people in New York just standing and gawking unless they're tourists. So,
or unless he's your future husband.
Yes. Men
generally stare at you if they want something, and this man definitely wanted something.
And he was just like, wow, you are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my entire life, with phone in hand, smiling as if he knew I was coming back. So
he knew that you would come back. He knew it.
And then I came and
he felt it like you felt it. It's not only one-sided. When she feels it, he feels it. It's like chemistry, Chemistry, darling. You didn't know this prince had come to America.
Yeah, it's a very funny coming to America story, in the sense that he came to America basically to, not so much just like Eddie Murphy did.
And he's from a royal household in Nigeria, right? From one of the royal houses in Nigeria.
Yeah, so he is a crown prince. So my husband is a crown prince from the Arigbabowo ruling house, which is in Ipicha, Ijesha, Nigeria, Yoruba Kingdom.
Wow.
So he's Yoruba. Wow. It's a lot.
I've heard of like Abuja and Lagos, but that's all like double Dutch to me. Well, you're on this first date with your husband, or your future husband, and he takes you to the most romantic first date ever, doesn't he?
Princess Keisha had no idea her husband was a royal when he rented out the restaurant for their first date. So it was really true. I had on like a tank top, jeans, and flip-flops. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but you're a supermodel. You're a supermodel. I mean, look at your figure. You could wear like a bra and knickers and look amazing. My God, I mean, you don't need anything. There's no makeup going on. It's all hair and legs and 6-foot-tall supermodel, darling.
And so I see that there's rose petals from the entrance leading all the way to our seat. I'm like, wow, this is really beautiful. As I look up and start looking around to see if it's leading to all the other tables as well, I realize there's no one else in the restaurant.
Wow, how romantic.
Like,
Wow,
where is
where
everyone?
did he come from? Where did he come from?
Who does this? So I
Who
was like,
does
oh my
that?
gosh, where is everyone? He was like, oh my darling, this is for us for the night.
And I think he'd gone by this point, right? He was like,
Yeah, so
how am I going to get her out of the restaurant now? How am I going to get her home? Do you have royal friends, or, you know, do you have a lot of fashion friends? How would you describe your circles?
Princess Martha Louise of Norway is one of the royals that I do consider a dear friend. And I'm friends with her partner, Shaman Durek, as well, from our modeling days.
Was Princess of Norway's husband a model?
Well, so they're not husband, they're just dating, but they are planning to get married. But he was a model.
So it's quite controversial, isn't it, now? I mean, the world is changing so much that, you know, your average Joe, let's say, really, compared to royal aristocracy, is marrying into, like, even European royals, like the Princess of Norway. You know,
Exactly.
it's quite a change of how things used to be, really.
If you've been watching The Crown, you will see that it could have been that way if they were allowing it to. The thing I love and respect most about Princess Martha is that she chose herself, and she chose happy, and she chose self-love.
You should always trust your instinct, always trust your gut feeling. Exactly. And, you know, when chemistry is happening, isn't it? Let's go back to you being the Pantene girl, right? So you being like one of the first girls, black girls, to represent Pantene as a supermodel, right? How did the Pantene contract, and obviously lots of other contracts with Maybelline, L'Oreal, Revlon, how did the first one from Pantene come about?
I have always had my hair naturally curly, like how it is now. And so when I would go to auditions, I was always compared to 3 other models when my hair was like that. One was Tamiko Frazier. One was Karen Alexander, who's an older model that's from like the Naomi Campbell era. And the other model was Kiara. And they were, all 3 of those girls were like really big at that time.
Kiara did a lot for MTV, actually.
What is it about me that stands out, that's different, that these 3 girls do not have, so that they can have a clear choice of who they want to work with? And the only difference was my hair. I never forget the look on my booker's face. She was like, so what's going on with your hair? Like, they always wanted to like make it, you know, and I'm like, no,
that's not you. You're a big hair girl.
Exactly. So there was no competition, basically. And everybody was like, oh, that's Keisha. Of course she's going to book that. And so I remember just going into the audition and just really feeling confident. I remember being so excited and so happy to finally get a actual campaign or an opportunity to walk in and just have my hair the way I like to wear it.
Well, they couldn't say you had a wig. I mean, look at that hair. I mean, you've hardly got a wig on your head, have you?
So, I mean, it was like the biggest job at that time of my career. It was huge. It was everywhere. And it really cemented me in the fashion and beauty world, and as a Ford model and as a New York model.
And obviously also proving that you were, you know, a black model within, you know, what is really the white majority, right? Because, you know, you're a black model, what, in the 90s and 2000s, and, you know, there's still this whole thing about diversity, especially in America, which wasn't huge at the time, right? So tell me about your working relationship as a model yourself with your daughter Dior.
The proud mommy smile is coming out now. There's a moment when she was being photographed where she was standing and she's got her hands on her hips and she's giving her poses, and then she just drops down. She goes, wow. And we were like, oh, you know, it was kind of like one of those blue steel moments from Zoolander where she's giving like the total model pose.
Maybe she just saw how her mum was behaving, you know, at shoots, and just, you know, it subconsciously went in.
She did see me like practicing and stuff. She never went on the shoot with me though. Sometimes you have it or you don't.
Your company, Crown of Curls, you are a big curly hair advocate, aren't you?
I created the name A Crown of Curls because, of course, your hair is your crown and glory. And I love the word crown because, you know, from royal and a play on words. So I created the company. I started, you know, doing private for all like the elite and the who's who of, like, you know, the footballer wives. You know, for me, confidence is key. Self-worth is key.
Confidence is key. You're absolutely right. Confidence is key. Self-confidence, self-love is key. I mean, I know that your motto to Crown of Curls is self-love equals
Hair love.
Hair love.